Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow travelers, thanks so much to Julia. And today, the beginning of day 2 of these marathons, will be the morning and early afternoon session, a strong emphasis on the connection also to digital maps, to science, something which will be particularly strong, I think, in the first 3 of our sessions. As Julia said yesterday, we had a real polyphony of maps, and the marathons are also always a book machine. So it leads to books, so statements and texts come in, and I'd like to read here a statement from Etel Adnan, which he wrote, which has a lot to do with this very present thing of the mind maps, which was yesterday recurrent, and the instability also of maps. Here the quote of Etel Adnan: "Maps are not about shapes, but about energies flowing in and out of places. They are about directions and obstacles, the circulation of the blood of cities, the blood of a territory. All these akin to the mind's instability." As I said, the link to science and digital mapping, something which really started in conversations with Bruno Latour. He was an important influence on the thinking about mapping from the outset. The great sociologist, anthropologist and thinker Latour. We collaborated in 1999 on the occasion of the exhibition Laboratorium with Barbara van der Linden, which investigated the notion of the laboratory in artistic practice of the late 20th and early 21st century. Laboratorium was a transdisciplinary project mapping the limits of the places where knowledge and culture are made. We invited at that time Latour to curate what he called the theatre of proof. It was a lecture series of demonstrations aiming at rendering public what happens in the laboratory. And that was very much the basis also for the experiment marathon in 2007 as part of the Park Nights in Olafur Eliasson and Kjetil Thorsen's pavilion. Since then, and that's, I think, makes it very relevant for today, Latour has pursued his interest in mapping and has continued to write about navigational and cartographic strategies. In his text, Entering a Risky Territory, Space in the Age of Digital Navigation, which he wrote together in collaboration with Valerie November and Eduardo Camacho Hübner, Latour investigates the relationship between the base map and the overlaying of secondary levels of contingent factors over this base, as well as the distinction made between physical and human geographies. The advent of digital technologies, he argues, has revealed that all these layers belong equally to the idea of territory. The implications of this are wide in both cartography and the exhibition-making practices. So an homage here to Bruno Latour. I'd like to make one announcement before introducing our first speaker. We have actually today in the map room, like yesterday we had Carith Wynne-Evans at the end of the day, and today we have another event in the map room at 4 p.m. Irene Anastas and René Gabri will present Let Me Make an Example, and I will later during the day then introduce this project, but just for those of you who make the schedule, that is an additional announcement.